It's all goofy. Like it's all silly, right? This is a society where people don't have real problems, right?
Yeah.
Go anywhere where people have real problems that they're dealing with.
Literally screaming on a street corner.
Exactly.
That you walk by and you go, ugh.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you compound that with the fact that I think generally a lot of people in society are lacking a serious meaning in their life, which can, that's a product of a lot of different things. I mean, modern society, what modern society has become, I think you have mass amounts, probably more people than ever in society that have no real meaning. They're isolated.
Nihilistic.
And then on top of that, the COVID happened. They've been isolated for, a better part of 2 years. Yeah. And then more people than ever are unmarried and don't have children. And they're disconnected from their family. And I mean, even going way back to just this idea of the suburban American life, the white picket fence and the nuclear family is separated from everybody. And then down the line, decades and decades later, you just have a lot of people in our demographic who work jobs they hate. Yeah. They're stuck in front of their computer all day long. They don't go outside. They're very unhealthy. Most people in American society, at least I'm sure in the UK too, most of them are overweight. They have a terrible diet. And then you put all that together and then they find this sort of empty meaning on social media. And they feel like they're a part of something because they've never really been a part of something bigger than themselves before. And then another reason too is just the complete lack of God in society, and then the decline of organized religion. And so you're just leaving people with this empty hole in their heart. They have no meaning, nothing. And then they take to Twitter, to Instagram, and they find something that feels like it's bigger than themselves. Yes. And then they latch onto it, and then they turn into bots.
Yep. Perfectly said. I mean, I think all across human history and all societies and countries and cultures, I think there are certain fundamental things that all human beings seek and are going to find somewhere, right? So, for example, purpose, meaning, community, a sense of right and wrong and morality, some form of outlet for their anxiety or aggression or energy. All of these things are things that people seek, and there are very healthy places to find them, and there are extremely unhealthy ways to find them as well. So I think it's just a given that human beings are going to seek these things. It doesn't mean they're all going to find it in the same place, right, and it's going to manifest in the same way. But to me, it's almost like a given that, yeah, of course, people want that. So when I am seeing this type of behavior and you're seeing this lashing out or the attacking or trolling or this or that, it's like that's that person's outlet. So we go to the gym. Right. So, and I feel it. I'm sure you feel it. If you don't work out for like 3, 4, 5 days, you feel more antsy. You feel more aggressive.
I haven't worked out in 3 days. I feel like crap.
Your temper is not as long. You feel off balance. You're more likely to snap at someone or say something that you don't really mean, and so on, because your body it needs to get rid of that somewhere. And I have a theory about this. I have no idea if any actual scientists have looked into this, but I have a big theory that human beings have almost like a baseline level of anxiety, right? Because all through history and still in many parts of the world, your primary instinct is survival.
Yeah.
Right. So we are designed and built to survive, right? We're built to handle famines. That's part of actually that even leads into obesity because some of those genes and stuff. So we're built to be able to handle famine, to handle war and the threat of war, to handle the threat of plagues and pestilence, to go out and hunt food and gather, farm and all of this. And so normally, I think in the past and in many parts of the world, that baseline level of anxiety, let's call it, or energy, dissipates through natural means, just through survival. When you make survival extremely easy, when it's so easy to make a living, like we could sit. I mean, if you like, we all primarily earn our living online. Like, I could sit in this room for the next year and earn money, get fed,
yes,
talk to people, communicate. Like, I could literally not leave this chair for the next few years, and it wouldn't be good for me, but I could technically survive. And that's such a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
Right. I don't need to go out and hunt my food. I don't need to fish. I don't need to pull stuff out.
You don't even really need to protect yourself from intruders.
Don't need to do anything.
Right.
And so if it's like that, then, but you still have that anxiety, right? I've never before, anxiety is such a weird word because when people say like, honestly, I don't really know what it means, but I try to empathize. But it seems like that you still have that in you and it's not going anywhere. Right. So it's like it's building up in people. And when you go to the gym, you get rid of some of it. When you go for a run, you get rid of some of it. When you go and build something with your hands or you do some type of task, you get rid of some of it. Creative energy, you write a song, you create a video, something, you're getting rid of some of that. And I think that people who are generally healthy and balanced, whether or not they know it, they're constantly getting rid of that in a healthy and productive way. And other people who are angry or whatever, they're getting rid of it in a negative way. They're trolling on Twitter, they're screaming at people, they're lashing out, they're screaming at protests, they're just getting it out in another way that's not particularly productive. And then you have others who just let it build up. And then they're all, that's when they start having their mental health issues and having anxiety and needing this and needing that, even though they haven't like been through something that's so severe that they should need a therapist or some type of psychotropic drug or something, but they just are not in any healthy way getting rid of all of that. Outlet. So that is my kind of theory. And this is also my theory of why we've briefly touched on family and connections and stuff like that. But that's also part of my theory why this is such a unique problem to this degree in the modern West, where life is so comfortable. And for the past couple of days, really in our generation, we haven't really had to struggle for much in that typical sense. Yeah. In fact, the struggles are oftentimes a result of the excesses of our society. I mean, obesity is a much bigger problem than starvation is not a problem. Obesity is a problem. There's all these problems of excess this, excess that. It's leading to more narcissism. Yes. People want to be different and everyone wants to be special to the point that you can make up your own gender and make up your own pronouns, and people are just doing all this weird, goofy stuff.
The oppression Olympics.
It's all goofy. Like it's all silly, right? This is a society where people don't have real problems, right? Go anywhere where people have real problems that they're dealing with. There's still only two genders. No one's having these crazy conversations about
self-mutilation.
No,
in order for society to accept you.
It's not even considered, like it's not even on their radar. No. And it wasn't on anyone's radar here until relatively recently. And so I think it's great in so many ways that we live in the most prosperous, least discriminatory, most wealthy, highest standard of living, longest lifespan, and so on.
Of all time,
of all places. But with that creates a whole host of new challenges. And I think so much of the stuff that we speak out against is really just that overcorrection and us as a society not really having, it's also new. Yeah. And people don't really know how to deal with it.
You're unique to me because you're